It's time for Recipe of the Day. Americans tend to not eat a lot of lamb, and so I've been on a mission lately to show you how to cook it so that you can add this very versatile and delicious protein to your repertoire. Now, today I'm talking about lamb loin chops, which are readily available. They are lean but tender, kind of like filet mignon. You know what I mean? That like lean but tender steak meat. So if you are a meat eater who likes that kind of texture, that kind of flavor, lamb loin chops might be just right for you. So lamb loin chops tend to be readily available. You'll find them in a lot of grocery stores. They tend to be bone-in and kind of look like little mini T-bone steaks. Now, I said that they were like filet mignon in that they are lean, and so you're going to cook them the way that you do cook something like a filet mignon, which is just a quick pan-sear on both sides until they reach the desired doneness that you like for the inside, which for this kind of lamb really should be medium or less, but you know me, I'm not going to judge you. I have myself and family members who sometimes like our meat a little bit more well done in certain circumstances, so I totally get it. But yeah, the idea here is that because this is a lean cut, there's not like fat and marbling inside of that meat. So there's nothing that's like melting and breaking down as you cook it. That melting of fat would add moisture and juiciness, right? So we don't want to really get it that far, because if we're not melting fat in, then we're just removing moisture when we're cooking it for any longer. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you a bit about this recipe. It is, like I said, a basic pan sear, but there are two optional things that you can do. The first is, if you know me, you're probably guessing it already, a dry brine, which is just salting it and leaving it in the fridge for a while. And that is going to let the seasoning penetrate all the way through for better flavor, but also that will be tenderizing the meat. The other thing, after you pan sear these loin chops, you can make a rosemary garlic pan sauce in the skillet that you cooked the chops in while they're resting. Just a nice little finishing sauce. So this is the kind of thing, like you can just pan sear the loin chops on a regular weeknight, quick, easy protein to cook. But if you're doing this for a special date night or just a special occasion, then you can do the optional rosemary garlic sauce. And I want to say, I know a lot of you filled out my survey recently to find out what kinds of recipes you want more of from me. And a lot of you wanted recipes for two. This is a great one. It's easy to have, and it's just perfect for two people enjoying a lovely dinner together. Okay, so you're going to get your bone-in loin lamb chops that are between 1 to 1.5 inches thick. And you're going to season them all over with 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. So like half a teaspoon per side, and then half a teaspoon of black pepper. And then if you're going to dry brine them, you're going to put them on a rack set over a pan and refrigerate them for 1 to 8 hours. The optimum amount of time is about 2 hours for these. Then you're going to take those out of the refrigerator and you're going right into the cooking step. Now, I've told you this before. When you want to cook your meat to more of like a medium or less well done temperature, cook it straight from the refrigerator. Don't let it come to room temperature first. That's because the inside is therefore colder, which means it's going to take longer to get to that temperature that you want, which gives you more time for pan searing, more contact between the outside of the meat and the pan. So that longer contact time gets you more browning, even if you like your meat more of a rare or medium rare. Do you see what I mean? Now, if you do like yours more on the medium well or well done, then you can let it come up to room temperature for like 30 minutes, and that's going to make it easier to get it up to that higher temperature and not like risk burning the outside. You see what I mean? Okay, so whether you dry brine them or not, you are moving on to that next step and heating a large skillet over medium-high heat with a tablespoon of cooking oil just until it's shimmering. Then add the lamb chops and cook until well browned underneath. It's going to be 3 to 4 minutes. Then you flip them over until they're browned on the other side. And depending on how well done you like them, you're going to leave them for a total of 2 to 4 minutes on that other side. And I will let you know that in the recipe blog post that I'm linking to, there is a doneness chart along with recommendations recommendations for how long it's going to take to get there. So the temperatures that you want to remove the lamb chops from the skillet at, if you're using like an instant read thermometer, for rare, it's 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Medium rare is 135. Medium is 145, which is also the safe lamb temperature recommended by the USDA is 145. Take it out, let it rest for at least 5 minutes. So it's getting up to 150. Medium well is 150 is when you take it out of the skillet, and well done is 155. So how long does it actually take? If we're talking about lamb loin chop that's around an inch, maybe a tiny bit thinner than that, then the second side is going to be about 2 minutes. For medium, it's going to be 3 to 4 minutes. For medium well or more well done, or for thicker chops, what you're going to do is brown that second side for 3 to 4 minutes, then flip it every minute until it reaches the temperature that you like. And you're just going to lower the heat down if it starts to get too dark, cooking each side for 30 to 60 seconds, which is going to allow the heat to penetrate kind of evenly without risking burning the outside too much because it's not having continuous contact with the heat source. You see what I mean? Okay, once those chops reach your desired temperature, you're transferring them from the skillet to a clean plate and tent them loosely with aluminum foil. Now you can serve them 5 minutes later just as they are, or you can make the pan sauce that I'm about to tell you about. So what you're going to do is reduce the heat under the skillet to low. So the same skillet that you just cooked them in, we're doing it right in there to get all the flavor from the pan that came off of that lamb, right? Okay. So then you are adding 4 cloves of garlic that you've thinly sliced. Add that in there along with 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh rosemary. Stir and cook that for 1 minute, and then you're adding a half cup of white wine. Any white wine that you enjoy drinking would work here. If you do not want to use wine, do not worry, I've got you. What you're going to do is mix together a half cup of chicken stock with 2 teaspoons of any of the following: lemon juice, white wine vinegar, sherry vinegar, red wine vinegar, or balsamic vinegar. And that's just giving you that little bit of acidity that you would have gotten from the wine. And I'll just say that as you add that wine, be careful because your pan is hot and it could spatter or steam. So just add it carefully, kind of standing away. And of course, there is alcohol in the wine. And so if it contacts your heat source, it could cause a fire. It's not as likely with wine, but just be aware your heat is down low and you're going straight into the pan nice and carefully. Okay. Now stir and scrape up any brown bits from the bottom of the skillet using the wine to deglaze the bottom of the pan. Then remove the skillet from the heat and stir in a 1/4 teaspoon of lemon zest, and then also 2 tablespoons of cold butter. But before you add the butter, cut it into 4 pieces, and then you're going to stir that really, really fast in the pan until it's melted. And the idea here is that you're stirring it to essentially emulsify the butter, the fat, with the liquid, which is going to make it just into a creamier sauce. Okay, so you're stirring that butter really fast until it melts, then give it a taste and add a little bit of salt if desired. Drizzle that over your lamb chops. We'll take the aluminum foil off of them first. Drizzle that over the lamb chops and serve. Oh, and I'll tell you, one of those like little chefly tricks is to put the sauce on the plate instead of over the lamb chops. So what you can do is get your dinner plates, drizzle the sauce onto the plate, put the lamb chops on there, and then put some of that garlic and rosemary over top. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is February 5th of 2025. And if you are enjoying this show, make sure you are subscribed to it. I put up a new recipe every single day. There are over 1,200 of them. I know, right? So if you are not already subscribed, here is what you do. Go onto your phone, open your favorite podcast app, and in that app, search for recipe of the day, and then you will tap on follow or subscribe, and then the new episode every morning will show up in your podcast feed. Or the other thing you can do is go to cookthestory.com/ROTD. You can subscribe right across the top there. There are buttons that you tap for Apple Podcasts, YouTube. So you can do that. And you can also browse all of the episodes and find all of the recipes that go with the episodes. They are all there. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook. And from this podcast, Recipe of the Day, I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.